Welcome. Today we're looking at the top 10 most valuable Marvel comics released with a cover date of the year 1976. We have some major keys we're going to be talking about. Watch this video throughout. You'll learn some interesting facts about each book, and we'll check out the market reports for how much these books are increasing in price and how rare or common they are on the CGC census. So looking at our chart, the number 10 most valuable Marvel comic of the year is X-Men number 100. This is a key anniversary issue. It's the old X-Men versus the new X-Men. This book has always been a key book, always in high demand. Not that rare, though, so prices are pretty steadily stalled in the Overstreet annual price guide. As you'll see, it hasn't had much movement for quite a while. It ranks as the 89th most valuable Marvel comic of the 1970s, and you'll see on my chart at the year-by-year ranking that it's been falling in the ranking a little bit every year since it's not really been jumping up in raw grades. But let's learn a little bit more about this book. Dave Cockrum art. The regular cover had a 25-cent cover price, but in 1976, Marvel decided to do some test printings of their best-selling comics at 30 cents. So there is a rare 30-cent variant of this comic, which is about 100 times rare. We'll talk about it a little bit later. The regular 25-cent edition, pictured here, print run estimated at 111,000 copies in 1976. The CGC census is full of copies, 2,600 copies graded, including 324 9.6s or better. Heritage sales have been picking up in recent years. Classic cover. In the Overstreet price guide in the last decade, you see there's no growth at all in almost any of the grades. So really the activity is going to be mostly in the graded copies and the super high grade copies. So check out recent eBay sales for those, and also the gpanalysis.com website to find out the true market currently for slabbed copies. On the census overall, there are 86 9.8s and 238 9.6s. And comparing that to the 30-cent price variant, you'll see there's a huge difference in rarity. And there is also a UK price variant, which actually, incidentally, is even rarer on the census, only 1 9.6. Okay, we're going to get to some of these 30-cent variant covers here a little bit. We've got 5 of them in our top 10. But next on our list is Marvel Treasury Edition number 1. Now, generally speaking, this is a common book, but the one we're looking at today is autographed by Stan Lee. It was actually marketed this way. It had a limited print run where they were all signed by Stan Lee. These have always, of course, been worth more money. He autographed 1,000 of them on the front cover. They were sold for $5 right when this came out. Regular cover price was $1.50. So you were basically paying $3.50 for Stan Lee's autograph on this book. And this was an oversized Treasury-sized magazine. So CGC does not grade Treasury editions, so there are none on the census at all. So, of course, the numbers here for the census are 0. And Heritage Auctions has only sold 9 of these autographed copies, so they're out there somewhere, but we're not sure. The regular edition, though, estimated 150,000 copies printed. Let's go compare the Overstreet price guide values for the unsigned copy and the Stan Lee signed copy. You'll see basically that, of course, the autographed copy is worth more, but it hasn't had much movement in the last decade. Very little movement at all. Only in the higher grades has it really gone up. And the unsigned copy, really no movement at all. Still a key book to have, though, but not really any movement. And again, Treasury size, so no copies graded. Next on our list, the number 8 most valuable comic of Marvel during 1976 is Daredevil 131. And this book, interestingly, really has been growing. It had a big jump in price just 5 years ago. Features the first appearance of the new Bullseye. Ranking's been pretty steady. Ranks 53rd overall as most valuable Marvel of the 70s. It features a rich buckler cover. It's print run 134,000 copies estimated. On the CGC census, again, a lot of copies graded. 2,600 copies with 313 9.6s or better. Heritage is slowly sneaking up. So there's the bullseye cover, 25-cent cover. And in low grade, you can see in the last decade, as it's become a major key, it's doubled in low grades, and it's actually tripled raw in higher grades. On the census, there are 84 9.8s, 229 9.6s, and there's a few of the UK price variants of this key book. Next on our list, number 7 is Marvel Spotlight 28. It's the 30-cent price variant that we're going to look at here. So again, what's the deal with these? The 25-cent covers were marketed everywhere in North America, but the 30-cent cover price variants were only sold in possibly 4 major cities in the United States, and that is it. So again, print runs are ridiculously small. On this one, we estimate the print run could be 1,500 copies as opposed to probably 150,000 of the regular cover. And this is a key for a few reasons. Of course, it's a great classic Moon Knight cover. And this is his first solo appearance. So this is a major key. Moon Knight has been very big for a number of years now. CGC census on this variant, you can see how rare these are. Only 101 copies graded. Heritage has only sold 2 copies in the last 20 years. And there's the cool 30-cent price on the cover. In Overstreet Annual Price Guide, you can see it's doubled in low grades, and it has more than, well, basically tripled in high grades raw. On the census, comparing them, you can see there are 6 9.8s of the price variant compared to many more of the regular cover. Next on our list, number 6 is Marvel Preview Magazine number 4. This is the first appearance of Star-Lord, who would go on to become the star leader of Guardians of the Galaxy. So this book became a major key book only in 2013, and then it skyrocketed. You can see it was so cheap before that. You can still buy near mint copies of this for $2 back in 1995. And now, right, we're at that $400 price mark for raw copies. So learning a little bit more about this one. Yes, it's magazine sized. It's the first appearance and origin of Star-Lord and Sword in the Star. Gray Morrow painted cover. It's quite nice. $1 cover price since it was magazine format with extra pages. Print run estimated at 150,000 copies. And CG Census has really picked up in the last 7 years. You can see it's gone from 200 to almost 1,200 copies graded. Heritage has been picking up. Overstreet really has jumped in the last decade because, of course, it used to not be a major key. So it's gone up almost 6 times in low grade, and in high grade has gone up about 14 times its original price. And on the census, 88 9.8s and 128 9.6s. Next on our chart of the most valuable comics, we got number 5, which is X-Men number 101. This is the conclusion of the Phoenix origin. So let's talk about this one a little bit more in detail. Because X-Men was relaunched with number 94, you could technically say that this is issue number 8 of the relaunched X-Men title. Dave Cockrum did the origin and first appearance of the Phoenix for this issue. Black Tom Cassidy and Juggernaut also appear. Print run estimated at 116,000 copies. This is a pretty classic cover. 30-cent cover price. And this is not a variant. This is when comics actually did move up to the 30-cent cover price. So this is the regular cover. And on the census, it's gone crazy. 4,500 copies graded. Heritage is really picking up. Super high grade copies are really picked up as well. In the Overstreet Price Guide, again, a fairly common book. In low grades, not a huge bit of movement. It's basically doubled in the last decade in high grade raw. On the census, 149.8. So looking at X-Men 99, 30-cent variant. And again, this is equivalent to being X-Men number 6. First appearance of Black Tom Cassidy, and the Sentinels appear in this issue. Now, 1,500 copies expected for this one, being one of the rare variants. Okay. And on the census, look how rare it is. Again, only 135 copies graded at all, and only 1 9.6 or better copy. Heritage has only sold 3 copies in the last 20 years. This rarely turns up on the market. Overstreet Price Guide, it's gone up not even double in low grade, but high grade it's tripled, raw. On the census, comparing it again to the regular cover, there's over 10 times as many graded. So there's 1 9.6 and 10 9.4s of this book. Next on our list, number 3 of the year is X-Men number 98. And this is also a 30-cent price variant. You can see that the rarity of these books has really driven the price up. Again, only 1,500 copies estimated to exist. Print run of the regular cover would be possibly 175,000 copies. Again, Dave Cockrum art. Nice cover. The census, again, quite rare, only 101 copies, 3 9.6s or better. Heritage has only sold 2 of these in the last 20 years. And again, Overstreet, basically the same thing. Not even doubled yet in low grade. It's tripled in high grade raw. And again, 3 9.6s and 2 9.4s. Number 2 on our list is that X-Men number 100 special anniversary issue, but this is the 30-cent variant, which we already have learned how rare they are in comparison. So we'll be able to compare it to the regular 100, which also made our list today. So again, this is the old X-Men versus the new X-Men, Dave Cockrum art, 1,500 copies generally estimated of how many there are. Again, 118 copies graded, 5 9.6s or better, and 5 through Heritage. So a little bit more common, but still extremely rare. 30-cent cover price. In Overstreet, again, it's not quite doubled in low grade. It's tripled in high grade raw. On the census, we have 5 9.6s, 7 9.4s. There's a UK price variant that has 1 9.6. And the most valuable Marvel comic with a cover date of 1976. And hard to believe, you used to be able to buy this book near mint for $2 for decades. But again, in 2013, it started taking off and is now since then been the most valuable comic of the year for the last decade almost. It is Marvel Preview Magazine number 7, featuring the first appearance of Rocket Raccoon. And why is this book so important now? Because he's one of the major characters in Guardians of the Galaxy. So he's been featured in a few movies. He eventually got his own comic series. Print run of this magazine, 150,000 copies. Does not feature Rocky on the cover, though. It features Satana on this sexy $1 oversized magazine format. Pencils by Keith Given in this issue. And this predates being a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy by 32 years, which is why it was not a key for a long time. CG Census has really been taking off in the last decade, up to 623. Not a lot of super high grade copies, though. Heritage is slowly picking up. In the Overstreet Price Guide, again, you can see that you still could have bought low grade copies a decade ago for $2. So it's gone up 15 times in price in the last decade. And in high grade, gone up an incredible, about, 32 times in price. On the census, we have 6 9.8s, 22 9.6s. That's all we've got. So there you go. The 10 key, most valuable, and historically important Marvel comics of 1976. Some really cool books on the list. We're just going to take a moment here quickly and compare these books on the CGC census. Let's just see just how rare are these books and compare them to each other. So the first thing I notice is which book has the most copies graded? Well, by far, it was X-Men 101 with the first appearance of Phoenix, because this is a major key book. It's way ahead of the others. Next in line would be X-Men number 100. It's the regular 25-cent cover price version, anniversary issue. The rarest on the census are of course, the 30-cent price variants. As valuable as they are, it's because there aren't any out there, and therefore they're quite rare on the census. We've got 4 of the X-Men books on our chart in the top 10, but they all have roughly 100 copies graded in total. Looking at the highest graded copies, the book with the most copies graded, again, is X-Men 101. There are 149.8, which is way ahead of the lead. And close behind, though, we've got Marvel Preview 4, X-Men 100, and Daredevil 131 are all in around the 80 copy mark at 9.8. But interestingly, some books don't even have a 9.8, including the 30-cent price variants of X-Men 98, 99, and 100. So there you go. 1976, Marvel had a big year. X-Men, obviously, the big new title. People were loving that, and it's been a key ever since. Thanks for watching. Check out more of my market reports. I've got more videos. You can read articles at terryhoknes.com or at comicbookinvest.com, brought to you by CBSI. We'll see you again next week.